3. I'm Adam. That's Doug. Let's go! Hey, Doug, how we doing today? Week 2 in the books?
Week 2 in the books. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing okay, But the first thing, before we get into anything Premier League, there was a leak of the US 2022 World Cup kits, and yes. I can't stand them. You got them up already? Okay, great. So I hate them. I don't know your thoughts on them, but they remind me of the 1998 England kits. And I hate that the Nike is on the sleeves like we're playing in the NFL. I know nothing, we're going to cover the NFL here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned. But for a World Cup kit, I don't like it. This is the home kit, and the away kit to me is just a training kit. I can't stand them. Am I still going to buy them? Probably. Not gonna lie. Same reason why I bought this one here. I bought it for the patches, even though I'm not a big fan of the jersey itself. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on these?
I'm not a huge fan. They're pretty bland. And
we've been waiting 8 years. 8 years to get back to the World Cup.
We missed the last World Cup, and then this is what we go out there wearing.
This
sucks. I expected more.
That away kit, that's a training kit. If you would have told me that that's what we're wearing in training, I would totally believe it. Why is that? What is with this? City, I think, started the trend with, their home kits now with all the logos in the center that just make it look like a training kit. I'm just not a fan of it. So, but anyway, I guess
we got a comment here that agrees that this is not. This is not what we're supposed to do.
Retro. It's if you haven't seen it, 1998 England World Cup kit. Okay, go back and take a look at those, and it's practically the same thing. Just a little bit more color, and they're just a little bit less of trying. It looks like. So, not a fan, especially from the 2014 kit. Oh, I love the collar. Not too many people are a fan of it, but I love the collar. I love the clean look of it. So from that to that, I'm just not excited. But what I am excited about is the fact that we went 6-4 last week from the webcast predictions. Starting off there with that Everton traveling to Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard versus Frank Lampard. Once again, another debate. And Ollie Watkins looking absolutely brilliant. I love him. I love when he gets the ball. I love him in space. I love him when he goes one-on-one. Grabs an assist as well in this game. Lucas Digne still trying to score for Everton. Got an own goal late, but really I felt Villa was pretty comfortable. So
I like that they still play Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings up top. I think they're really good together. I mean, Danny Ings showing that he still has it, and he wasn't getting carried by James Ward-Prowse.
That finish was absolutely incredible.
It was awesome.
That's just the quality of a number 9 there. I know he doesn't not as fast as he used to be, but
but I mean, he lets Watkins do all the running for him, and then he just sits at the top of the box.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great game. But
Coutinho
another number.
So we'll see how that plays out. But he didn't really have much of an impact, so it may not do much. There may be no difference.
Yeah, especially for a team that we're predicting to finish in a European place. I mean, good bounce back. It was against Everton, which we don't project too great of things from, but. I think overall a solid performance. Excited to see him next week. But another team that just was super exciting was Arsenal with Gabriel Jesus, 2 goals, 2 assists. That finish, top right corner.
Should have had more.
Sublime. Yeah, should have had more. Looked comfortable the whole way against Leicester. Fofana just looked like he didn't want to be there.
Looked really bad. All the links with him and Chelsea. I didn't see it. I didn't think he looked very good.
Well, I think he just looks dejected, like he doesn't want to be there. Now, I don't know about these rumored 80 million, world record fee for him, especially a young player. But he just didn't look like he wanted to be there. There was this post after the game of him just clapping by himself to the fans, making it look more poetic that he was saying his goodbyes to the Leicester away fans that traveled to London. But I guess reports now saying that he was trying to walk down the tunnel and Brendan Rodgers sent him back out. So he's kind of forced to stay out there. So, but we'll see. Hopefully 2 weeks left in the window. You think he'll go, or you think he's going to stay?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he should. Not after that game. He looked really bad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think he looked really bad. If I was Chelsea, I would not pay any sort of money like that for him.
Wow. Even with the center back needs of Chelsea, you wouldn't go for him?
No.
No.
If they were going to spend that much, they should have done it on Koundé.
Yeah. That one, man, Barcelona, how they stole that away from us. I mean, we were chasing him for 2 years, and somehow Barcelona come in with the zero money that they have and take him away, which was, that was a gut punch. I'm not going to lie, but I think Fofana can fit really well, especially, I forget whose goal it was, but he pushes up high, wins the ball back, and then kind of starts the attack again. Oh, actually, I think it was actually a one-on-one with him. Actually, yeah, it was an opportunity with him. He wins the ball back, plays 1-2, I think, with Vardy, and gets played through on goal one-on-one, doesn't finish his chance. But in a back three with Chelsea, if he can play as that player that kind of Rudiger did on the left-hand side, but play it on the right-hand side where he's going to be the one pressing forward to try and stop play and win the ball back immediately, I think he can play really well there in a back three personally.
But how do you do that with Reece James? Yeah,
I know that was amazing to watch in the Tottenham game. He was just sitting in the midfield most of the game.
He was playing as the right center back. Yeah, and then you had, who was it? The guy you like, the midfielder. He was playing right back.
Oh, Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, Loftus-Cheek. So he was at right back. So he was basically a right winger. And then Reece James would kind of just scoot over and play right wing back. It was an odd formation, but it worked.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get into that game a little bit later. But another game that was this last weekend, I think, was just full of great games. But I really enjoyed this one just because of the way Brighton played. I don't know how in the world they left this with a draw. Newcastle and Brighton both winning their opening fixtures. But Brighton looked really good to me. So we predicted a draw. It ended up being a draw, even though Brighton, I think, should have grabbed all 3 points there.
Brighton's a really good team. I didn't expect them to look as solid as they are. But, I mean, that's just kind of what they've always been. It's just solid. They're a team that's just not beat easily. Yeah. And if they can find a way to score some goals, they could be a really tough team.
Yeah, I agree, especially with that back line, and Lamptey hasn't even been playing full 90 minutes, been sub both games. I mean, granted, Chelsea Academy player, but I really enjoy watching him. I think he's great on the ball, quick, can hold his own even for his size defensively. So I think he's great. Another surprising draw by the end of it. Not that one. Sorry, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Not surprising draw. This one, not surprising at all.
This one,
Man City cruise 4-0 over Bournemouth. 1% predicted a Bournemouth win there. That's pretty bold. I don't think anyone really thought this was going to go any different. Kevin De Bruyne, if you haven't seen his goal, what a finish that was outside of the right peg. Oh, what a finish. And, I don't know who can stop them if they're healthy. I think the only thing that's ever going to stop them is injuries. Bernardo Silva, the rumor to Barcelona has died down. 2 weeks left in the window. I don't know that that's going to happen as a rival. Definitely hoping it was going to happen. That would have been great. But they just look set. They can hurt you in so many different ways.
How do you stop them? Left, Mahrez on the right. And then on the bench, they have Grealish that can come in on the left and Silva that can come in on the right.
Yeah, endless.
They do not get weaker.
Yeah,
in their
bring
bench.
on Gundogan. No.
Yeah, they just they can't be stopped. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone's gonna keep up with them. The only team to keep up with them so far, Arsenal, top of the table. Only 2 teams with 6 points from 6 so far. So pretty exciting. This next one, also surprised it ended in a draw. Leeds, Southampton. Leeds starting off extremely well. Rodrigo on fire to start the season. What a great game for him. Southampton changing formation there in the second half, trying to get some life, bringing on a bunch of subs, including, I'm going to mess his name up here, but Seko Mara. Of course, he's French, and of course, he is fantastic. That pass, he played a through ball for Kyle Walker-Peters' goal that was absolutely amazing. Splits 4 defenders straight through to the top of the box. 1 touch, bottom left-hand corner finish. Of course, he's 20 years old because everyone on Southampton is a young kid, it seems like. But what a great end to that game. And Chelsea got Leeds next week. But what are your thoughts on Southampton and Leeds, especially Southampton, because drawing with Leeds, but we're predicting them to be relegated by the end of the season, and you guys just battered them 4-1 to start the season. So,
yeah, I don't think Leeds is where they can be yet. But Southampton, to me, they have no chance this year.
Really?
They have no chance.
Did you see that through ball, though?
I did, but that is not going to win them games.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Just it seems like they have a lot of good young talent, but the key word there is young, and whether or not they can put it together to compile enough points.
When their right back is scoring their goals, and their deep lying midfielder is scoring their goals, that's just not a good combination.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go from here. Maybe they'll stick with the new formation change. Maybe they'll stick with we'll see what they go into the next game with the back 5 when they travel to Leicester next week. All right, Fulham versus Wolves. Fulham missing a penalty late here. Wolves actually surprisingly with the long balls look pretty good. I am worried a little bit about Fulham from this performance. Granted, I have them going down. Last week they did pretty well, obviously against Liverpool, but this week kind of showed me their true colors a little bit. They almost stole all 3 points at the end with that penalty, but I didn't think I thought Wolves were by far the better team in this one.
Yeah, I think Wolves are going to be more consistent all year.
Yeah,
just like they are kind of every year. Middle of the table team. Fulham is Fulham. They're themselves where they're up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. That's why we watch sports, because Fulham gives Liverpool everything they have, and then a team like Wolves, they don't play very well. It just doesn't make sense on paper, but that's why we watch.
Yeah, very true. And the next one that we had here, so we went for a draw. United battered 4-0 in the first 35 minutes against Brentford. Josh Da Silva looks great to start the season. A goal in each game, one against Leicester, one against United. But did United offer anything for you? Do you see any hope here from any single individual in the United team right now?
United refuses to work hard.
Eric Ten Hag had him run an extra 8.5 miles on Monday morning.
They refuse to work hard. Yeah. And I feel really bad for Dean Henderson because De Gea puts in performances like that, but they refuse to drop him. He will start next week. He will start the week after. Whether Henderson was there or on loan doesn't matter. De Gea was always going to be between the posts, and that's all that matters. And so
2 horrendous errors from who used to be back in the day, fighting
One
for
of the
that
best in
number
the
one
world.
spot in the
Yeah.
world, and to have this kind of performance and all in the span of what, like 12 minutes, he had these two errors.
And I understand Ten Hag is just put into a really bad situation. It's not his fault at all. And he's trying to play Eriksson. He's trying to get rid of McFred, so he puts Eriksson back into more of a defensive role, but that's not his role. But who else can he put there? They can't buy anybody because nobody wants to come to United.
Yeah,
Rabiot fell through.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
they spend 11 days on him, working everything they have, and then they pull out because he wants to get paid too much.
Yeah. 3 months on De Jong, 3 weeks on Rabiot, all not going to happen. A waste of time. And 3 days on Casemiro. I don't know. I never really believed that one. I just could not see.
Say no,
5-time
absolutely.
Champions League winner. Yeah. So here's a question for you. Ronaldo, supposedly it's reported now that if a acceptable offer comes in to United for Ronaldo, that he will be allowed to leave. If you're Erik ten Hag, do you force him out, or do you bunker down and make sure that he stays?
Honestly, I let it, whatever happens happen, because Eriksson, I see a comment in the chat. Ronaldo's clearly not there for a rebuild.
Yeah. 37 years old.
If you try and push him out and then nobody, you can't bench him because then nobody's going to offer for him. Mm-hmm. And if you play him every game, he still has nobody to play with. But you have to play him for him to try and show that he still has it. So maybe one team can say, okay, yeah, we'll take a chance on him, and then you just let him go. But it's hard.
So you want to use him as audition? You want to play him so that he can audition for other teams?
Ronaldo should want to audition. He should want to be playing the best he's ever played in his life so he can get out of United. Because if he's not, and he's sitting on the bench, nobody's going to want him. Why would they?
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing is it seems like his, super agent is going around talking to all these different clubs and nobody wants to bite anyway. There's reports that he's going to take a reduction in salary. There's reports that he is just open to really anyone who is just in the Champions League. He just wants to be in the Champions League. And we're going to talk about the game a little bit later, Spurs-Chelsea. But for me, if you bring in Ronaldo, I'm okay with it, as Todd Bowley has all these connections now with Jorge Mendes, Ronaldo's agent, so there's always those links that Ronaldo can come into Chelsea. The only way that I'd be okay with it is if there was an understanding that he isn't going to play, he's not going to start a single game. I don't want him to start a single game, and the reason why I say that is I want him to almost be a super sub on steroids. Chelsea, 40 consecutive Premier League games where they were not trailing at halftime, which means you start the second half of any Premier League game and Chelsea's either tied or winning. If you can throw on Ronaldo in the second half of every single game, you should be able to solidify 3 points.
Yeah,
every win. We don't only have to go 40, we've 40 consecutive games without trailing. So I would love to have that, but he would have to accept something like that, and obviously I'm okay if he starts, some of these other games. He's not going to play in any of the League Cup games probably most of the beginning of the FA Cup. But as long as there's that understanding, I would actually be okay with bringing in Ronaldo, but that would be my only thing.
I think he would start. For that. I think he would push to start every Champions League game though. And I think he would. And I think he would win that fight because Ronaldo in the Champions League is...
I know but the problem I have with that is when you have someone Ronaldo, he sits at the top of the box and he waits. And as Havertz isn't the goal scoring threat that we all hoped he was going to be, he covers. It's more of a fluid front three now. Sometimes you'll find Havertz all over on the left, Sterling up front. They kind of interchange a little bit more. They can press from all three of those front positions. All three of them can. And if you have Ronaldo, he's staying up front the whole time. He's not going to be pressing, and he's just going to be waiting for his opportunity. So why not have him in the second half of games where he can actually do a little bit more pressing. He's only playing 45 minutes and still be that goal threat. And he's going against players who are a little bit more tired, having already played 45 minutes. So.
I completely agree. I think if you guys got Ronaldo and did that, even if he did have to start because he's Ronaldo, I would get it, but then you got to take him off at 60 minutes. Just get yourself to that halftime, being up 1-0, and then you can put on Kai Havertz or Broja and keep the lead.
Yeah. And speaking of Broja, right?
And that's okay.
Yeah, and also, there isn't a better person to teach all the Chelsea forward line on how to finish than Ronaldo. In practice, everything like that. He's definitely going to be bringing everybody's level up. You already have a group of winners, and you just need to add that clinical killer touch to it, and no better than Ronaldo, in my opinion.
Well, would you prefer Aubameyang over Ronaldo because he's going to press? He will. He will actually play the Chelsea style.
Yeah, Aubameyang is interesting. I haven't watched a lot of Barca since he's been there. Obviously, his numbers are pretty good overall, and he can, he's more of a ball playing center forward where you can throw the ball in and, he can actually touch it, unlike Lukaku. And so I think that's going to help a lot. And I agree with your pressing. I don't know. I really don't know.
Ronaldo or Aubameyang, I take Ronaldo.
Yeah. So, because Aubameyang, the only reason why I would question taking Aubameyang is you think he's going to be there for 2-3 years, right? Ronaldo, you're hoping you get one,
maybe 2.
Yeah, and then let him go and wherever he wants to go after that. But he's not going to be as involved as Aubameyang will need to be, which is why I want Broja. I want Broja to get more of an opportunity. So if you can bring in Ronaldo for a year or two and kind of bridge the gap a little bit, playing him, in the end of games, help, in training, he's the ultimate professional, help him, help the whole team, help Broja grow, then I would want Broja to get more of a chance.
Well, and I think that's kind of, what it seems like is they're talking about Ronaldo, they're talking about Aubameyang, they're not talking about 25, 26, 27-year-olds. They're talking about bringing in somebody for right now, and then I would assume have Broja take over for him. So it sounds like that's what Chelsea's doing.
But see, Broja's he's so far off in terms of experience. He's young, like Mason Mount's young, Reece James is young, but they've played big roles. Kai Havertz is young, big roles in the Champions League. Broja has not. He's played Premier League, on loan last year to Southampton, and he hasn't gotten that much exposure. So I don't think he can be the starting number 9 next year or even in 2 years. I think he needs more exposure to be the out and out starting number 9, and he has to perform too, on a consistent basis. Being the number 9 for Chelsea is a lot different than being the number 9 for Southampton. So. Right. I don't know. I mean, you almost have to. It'll be interesting to see if we bring in either Aubameyang and or Ronaldo, or if we end the transfer window without either of them. Then next summer, I feel like we're going to be purely focusing on that and bringing in someone who's mid-20s, proven a little bit, and then they will be the number 9. But then you feel bad for Broja after that.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the game.
Yeah. All right, what do we got next year? We got Forest, the 12th man. Oh, what a game this was. The city ground was just going nuts for this one. They haven't first Premier League game in over 23 years. They've been waiting a long time, and it just seemed like everything went their way. Two shots off the crossbar. I don't know how either of them didn't go in for West Ham from Soufal and Benrahma. Declan Rice misses a penalty on top of all of that. Dean Henderson trying to prove that point mentioned to United for letting him go out on loan. But Nottingham Forest taking all 3 points.
Nottingham Forest. I mean, I think West Ham lost that game.
More than Nottingham Forest won it.
They lost that game. But Nottingham Forest put on a good show, and West Ham wasn't completely on their game, and they beat them.
Yeah, and that the luck of everyone's going to get a little bit of luck go their way, whether that's preventing a goal or scoring a goal. Nottingham Forest got both with that Lingard shank off the knee, off the Forest forward to go in, and I don't know how that Benrahma off the crossbar went in. The way it hit off and went backwards, how that didn't cross the line is still
what a shot.
Amazing to me. Yeah, great shot. And obviously Declan Rice missing the penalty.
It was a pretty poor penalty.
Crazy. Yeah, it was.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. But Dean Henderson, whew.
Dean Henderson's good.
What a performance. Yeah, what a performance he was, especially sitting on my fantasy bench. But that's besides the point. Great game. One of the 2 games that were on Sunday, but it did not live up to the second game. Spurs, Chelsea. The Cucurella incident here behind me. Harry Kane celebrating like he scored the winner. Comments after the game said that he did score the winner. I don't know what he was thinking, but Dean, and then you also have Dean Henderson. No, sorry, not Dean Henderson. Mike Dean. The VAR is now kicked off from the VAR room this weekend. He who was the VAR for this game here. But what are your overall thoughts on Spurs' character, which is what a lot of the NBC pundits have been saying after the game? They were very impressed with Tottenham's character and their overall performance.
We were outmatched the entire game. I don't know if it was game plan, players, energy, efficiency, whatever adjective you want to give it. We looked very, very bad. We were bad with the ball. Every time we touched the ball, there was 4 blue jerseys around us, and then we would lose it. It would be 1 touch, lost ball, instead of the 1 touch pass and then break on the counter. We looked like we haven't played any preseason games, where we're not used to the pressure of, and the speed of Chelsea. We go from Southampton, we looked great. Then we played a real team, and it showed that we are not as good as we showed last weekend. I don't know. I mean, when we went to a back 4 and we brought on Richarlison, it changed, but we were an absolute liability down the left side. It was pretty brutal. I mean, the last goal for you guys to score, Reece James was wide open, passed it through the middle, was just wide. It was brutal.
I mean, to win it around the halfway line and make 2 passes and you're wide open at the penalty spot.
You got one player standing in between you and the goal.
Yeah, that was a surprise when the camera angle kind of started to pan over to Reece James as Sterling played that pass in, that he was so wide open. So let's break this down a little bit more of this game. So let's start with the opening 10 minutes. I thought actually Spurs were kind of on the front foot for those opening 10 minminutes. I thought you guys looked fast and fluid. And then, like you mentioned, I was listening to most of this game the first time around when I was driving. And so I wasn't watching it. I was just listening to it. But every time I would peer over to see part of it, Chelsea always had the ball between the 10th minute and halftime. And it just seemed, Chelsea ended up 68% possession. And we just kept putting the ball back. And I think you make an interesting point about tactically, Reece James following Son wherever he went. He checked into the midfield to get the ball. Reece James was there. He goes and tries to run long. Reece James was there. And I thought he had a fantastic game. Tuchel sometimes will play him there as the right center back when we're playing a more dangerous left attacker. He's done it against Leicester with Vardy, with the speed, with Son, obviously, how good he is. So I thought it was really a great move by Tuchel. And I think it took until the second half, like you mentioned, for Conte to kind of adjust to that, go with that back 4, bring on Richarlison, and you guys look like a completely different kind of threat going forward.
We looked like a Pochettino Tottenham team, where we have 4 players going forward at all times. When we're playing in the back 3, I mean, I agree with this comment. Son was basically non-existent because whether it was Reece
I
James,
know where he was. He was just in Reece James' pocket. That's the only thing.
yeah,
So
I mean,
couldn't go find him.
it was bad. He got shut down completely. He didn't really do too much versus Southampton. You know,
Mhm.
he didn't do anything spectacular. And then versus Chelsea, you would see him at half line, you would see him going forward, but he
Mhm.
really couldn't go forward very much because, like you said, between 10 minutes and halftime, Chelsea had the ball.
Yeah,
So
68% possession. I could
him and
not
Harry
believe that
Kane
stat.
did not touch the ball.
Mhm.
Kulusevski touched the ball more only because he would come back deeper,
Yeah,
and he didn't have
yeah.
Reece James standing over him, just like
Mhm.
Kane has Thiago Silva sitting right in front of him. Or,
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
it was
Yeah,
really
and
bad.
yeah, that's what I love about the back three system is you allow one of your defenders to kind of push and press into the middle of the field with still having that support of two center backs behind. Obviously, Kane went through on goal one time with a nice through ball there. 9 times out of 10 he buries that. So that was
Yeah.
definitely a let off. Another let off though could go the other way. The first goal. What are your thoughts there? Is it a foul on Havertz from
I think it's a
Bentancur?
foul.
You think
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
foul?
it's a foul. But
But
I
do you
think
think
that
it's too far back?
I think yes, I do a little bit because I think Chelsea kind of gave up because they got irritated. They thought it was a foul, so they didn't keep playing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they teach you this as kids: play till you hear the whistle, and
Yeah.
they didn't. They
Yeah.
didn't keep up the
Yeah, and
play.
what is Jorginho doing? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And Cucurella
So
shouldn't play him that ball anyway. But Jorginho, just trying to chip it out of there and then draw a foul on top of it. Just a terrible, terrible decision.
yeah,
Now there is also not only the foul, but there is also the offsides from Richarlison, who is in offside position as Højbjerg takes the shot, and it goes like 5 inches away from hitting Richarlison's ankles. But do you think line of sight to Mendy being in an offsides position that should have been called? Personally, I think when I first watched it, I thought there's no way that would be called offsides. Goalies always have to. I mean, there's 20 players in front of you, battling at the top of the box
yeah.
for
Of
every
course, there's
single
going to be
goal.
somebody in your way. Yeah,
You're always someone in your way. So unless it's directly shielding the shot from you, I don't think it should be called. I watched it back, and Mendy pauses, but you kind of always have to pause because you don't know whether it's onside or offsides, and if it's going by a player, then as a goalkeeper, you always need to wait to make sure you react to if there is a second touch. But I personally, if that was a goal that Chelsea scored, I'd be upset if it was called back personally. But what's your thoughts on that?
I like that they didn't call it.
Okay.
Because I think they should be not necessarily more lenient with offsides, but with those types of calls, because it didn't look like he was trying to shield him and then jump out of the way. He looked like he was just kind of in an offside position, and then when he turned, he was surprised that it was getting hit too. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm in the way."
Yeah.
So I don't know. Kind of like the handball rule where he's in a natural position. He doesn't look like there's any intent of him to try and shield the keeper from the shot. So I like it not being called, but I could understand where Chelsea fans could be mad about it because it's anything that could be questionable, of course, is going to cause an issue.
Yeah, and I think there isn't too much rage overall about it. I mean, definitely the foul, there's a lot of rage on.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but
not that one.
Yeah, not that one. And and the second one obviously taking a majority of the rage from Chelsea fans, and rightfully so. But Mr. Romero here pulling down Cucurella in the 95th minute by his hair. His hair. And it wasn't like, he's just like, he goes to push and, your hand gets caught in someone's hair and it just kind of, whatever. Cause he's got some hair on him, but he grabbed and pulled already on a yellow card. And for me personally, I think the biggest problem, like if Anthony Taylor didn't see it, okay, you didn't see it. A corner kick is 20 people inside of the box all on top of each other. Okay, you didn't see it. People fall down, you don't necessarily think anything of it. But the fact that they went to VAR and Mike Dean didn't say anything about it, one, is a problem. But two, they spent about, 10 to 20 seconds pausing the game where everybody is surrounding Andrew Taylor, waiting for the decision from VAR. And Cucurella is visibly upset about the whole thing. And then within 10 seconds of them saying no decision, they all have to go back into position in the 96th minute to defend a corner kick. And I think that is what put the Chelsea defense kind of off. You had some mismarking there, especially with 3 Spurs players kind of collapsing on the front post. Harry Kane gets the beautiful little flick, and it goes back post. But I think it was handled the worst possible way from a referee perspective. If you missed it, you missed it. Let the game go on. But the fact that you reviewed it with VAR, you still didn't call it, even though it should have been a red card. They just deemed it wasn't. What is the word? Like there has to be, it has to be deemed,
it has to be
like
definitive evidence.
Well, not definitive,
but in football,
it has to be like a certain level of physical misconduct. Basically, like if it's not deemable as a straight red card, it can't be pulled back. He was already on a yellow, and 2, I think it was a straight red card. That's a straight red. But to not even go back and call it a foul, we saw in the previous games this weekend where calls, they went back for fouls and got goals disallowed. I don't see how the play that caused the corner kick isn't to get called back for a foul. I don't see how that distinguishes as 2 separate phases of play. It's what caused the corner kick. If you had a foul in midfield and then that led to a through ball for someone, you would call that back. But the foul that led to the corner kick isn't called back. I don't get why it needed to even be a straight red card. It should have been called back for a foul anyway, in my opinion. But I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are just happy to walk away with the point.
I'm happy with 1 point.
Or if you're Harry Kane, happy to score the winner that also got you a point.
We didn't deserve a single point that game. We were so bad. Like I said, it was good to see that we can switch. We can flip the script and we can be an attacking team. That's good to see. I'm happy to see that. I mean, when I started watching soccer, it was in the Pochettino era, and that's what I loved about it was Harry Kane scoring goals, Son, Eriksen, Dele Alli, just all out attack at all times. And it's not every coach since Pochettino has been the exact opposite. And our team is not built for that. We're not built to play 3 at the back because we don't have 3 good center backs. I mean, we really
Eric Dyer has been playing better, but I agree. I don't think he's
we need
good
to stack
enough.
our midfield. We need to get another forward to help with Kane, and we need an attacking midfielder. And
so where do you go from here? Now, go back last year, or even, Tottenham has a very poor record at Stamford Bridge. So between last year, you played us 4 times, you didn't score a goal. And this year now, you go to the Bridge and you get a point. So obviously from last year to this year, you obviously can show that you have some improvement and you're leaving here already ahead. So where do you think Spurs can go from here? Do you think you guys can push on and even, contend, especially with Liverpool kind of dropping these, 4 points in the first 2 games? Do you think that Tottenham can actually go ahead and challenge City?
It's tough. Tottenham for the past 3-4 years, we always show up in the big games, and we will either walk away with a point or sometimes we'll sneak away with 3 points here and there. And then we go to Southampton and we draw, or we lose, and we go to Everton and we lose by 3, and it's just, if we can fix that and then still show up for the big games. I mean, we got 2 points off of Liverpool last year. That's huge. That's how you win
City.
That's how you win the league, is when you get 2 points off. And off City.
You beat them twice last year.
I mean, it's. I think that we're close. I just think tactically, I wasn't a fan of the way we played. I don't think playing a front three when Chelsea was manhandling us in the midfield. I don't think playing a front three and then having just two people in the midfield is the way to play against Chelsea, because they were picking us apart all game. And I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Yeah, well, and speaking of, those small games, that's why I think that you guys will be up there, at least comfortably in the top 4, challenging with City. I don't know if really anyone can do that. But Conte is going to bring that structure so that when you play those lower teams, you should body them.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to have really any opportunities. And if you just, throw in a couple balls to Kane in those games, eventually he's going to get one. So I think that is what's going to be more solidified, is you're going to feel so comfortable going against anyone in the bottom half of the table and getting 3 points. And so I think, and you look, winning the league isn't about really how well you do against the top teams. Yes, obviously you want to beat your direct rivals. That gives you a little bit of an edge, but really titles, I feel like, are won by how you perform against the others. And I think Tottenham, for that reason, is going to be up in the top 4 because they will be able to compete against.
We will win the games we are supposed to win.
Exactly. And that's
all
huge.
The games outside of the top 6, we should win.
We should
and
win. Yeah.
As long as we can do that, it gives ourselves a chance.
Yeah.
Now, the difference is City is going to, beat Tottenham. They could beat Chelsea on any given day. They can beat any team. So Tottenham's not there yet. Clearly, we saw that. We snuck away with 1 point when we shouldn't have. And
robbed.
Yeah, robbed. I would agree. I would agree. It was bad. A couple bad calls. We got lucky, and we just have to take it.
Well, who we thought would start off the season pretty well is this next game here with Liverpool taking on Palace, their first home game. Darwin Núñez goes for a little headbutt and then decides that he wants to go with the full headbutt a couple minutes later, gets straight red card, rightfully so. I don't know that there's much argument for that one. Luis Diaz with a absolute stunner of a finish from outside the box when they're already down to 10 men, brings them back level. But I think this game was about Patrick Vieira setting up his team to counter. The only way that he saw that they could win, Zaha with got a couple of chances, even the one at late to win it, but was able to put away one of those chances, and they just kind of rode that out. I still think Patrick Vieira should be the manager at Arsenal, but I'm not a big fan of Arteta, but that's besides the point. Liverpool dropping their first 2 games, 4 points back of leaders City and Arsenal, with only 4 subs for this game because of their lengthy injury list that's already building up. But you think that the start of the season is just a blip and they can recover? Or you think that we're going to see a little bit more blood drawn in these next couple of games?
I think they need to figure it out fast, or it could really spiral. And we see how good City are. Chelsea looked amazing. Tottenham, if we can keep winning games, Arsenal looks great. They could dig themselves a deep hole before Christmas time, and they need to figure it out. That's for sure. Núñez been playing great, and then does something really, really ridiculous, and just hurts his team. That's already hurting. That's just not very smart.
Now he's out for 3 games. You add Jota is out with injury on top of that. So Firmino's going to come back in, hopefully. But with that lengthy injury list. Yeah. And I wasn't a big fan of Phillips as well. Obviously, he kept Zaha on sides and then got beat down for pace. And Virgil van Dijk didn't slide over quick enough for Zaha to slot home the opener. But when you just don't have the players, we saw this with Liverpool a couple years ago when they got all these injuries, and I think playing in 70 or so games last year, making the final of every single competition, pushing City all the way to the last game of the season in the Premier League is taking its toll.
Looks like
on
it.
these players, and playing that style of pressing, I think, is definitely going to be difficult for Liverpool to maintain. I do worry that they could, you can't win the Premier League in August, or in September, but you could probably lose it, especially with how good City is. So I'm with you on that. I'm a little concerned.
They need to figure it out
Just
before
because of
August
the
is over.
injuries. Yeah, the injuries are not helping at all. And if you they dropped points to Fulham and Palace. They didn't drop points to, Arsenal and Spurs. So I think, that's going to cause some problems here. But
I'm curious to see what they do in the last 2 weeks of the window. Are they going to
you think they'll do business?
Are they going to make some panic moves, or do you think
yeah,
they
what
just
do you
ride it
do?
out?
What do you do with injuries, right? It's not like these players are gone or whatever.
Exactly. They're not
They're just out for a
retiring.
couple of weeks.
They'll be back.
Liverpool not very known for making lots of moves. I don't know that they will personally.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, they lose Mane and they bring in Nunez. And
yeah, that was it.
They didn't do really anything else. They may have done some academy players here out and in, but they didn't do anything.
Nothing. No starting 11 players. That's for sure. Well, we went 6-4 in last week's picks. 52%. Not too bad. So let's go into week 3 here. And we will start off with Tottenham hosting Wolves. A great point at Stamford Bridge last week. Wolves still wondering how they didn't leave Molyneux with 3 points. But what do you got for this one?
I mean, I think I got a Spurs victory here pretty easy.
Pretty easy?
I think it's going to be a pretty easy one. I think that we're going to bounce back. We really got smacked in the mouth by Chelsea. So I think we're going to bounce back on this one, and we're going to prove that we're one of the best teams in the league. I think that's what they're going to go for.
Richarlison start for you? Basuma, does he get in the starting lineup as well?
Basuma needs to start. I don't know what he's waiting for. Basuma needs to just play.
Yeah.
This is getting old. I'm getting tired of it. I wish he would have came on in the 40th minute, but I wish he would have came on for Son in the 40th minute. Just bring him in, because Son clearly wasn't relevant. We weren't going forward at all. So there's no need for him to play defense. Let's just put on Basuma, a real midfielder. But
he can boss any midfield.
Yeah. So
I love Basuma. Yeah.
I think we may see a tactical change in our team. I don't know.
Really?
Conte seems pretty set in his ways about having 3 up front, but I think we may see 2 up top pretty soon.
Wow.
I think that's what we should be playing, especially against the teams like City, Arsenal, that can really boss around the midfield. I think we need to play 3 in the midfield.
Wow. So what about a team like Wolves? Are going to sit back.
A team
you're
like
going to
Wolves,
be at home.
I think we'll play our regular 3-4-3.
Okay. And just you're going to be playing against a low block the whole game. They're going to be camped inside of their 18, and you're just going to be sending in crosses, waiting for.
Yeah, I think it's going to show though that we really need a number 10 or an Eriksen, because we don't have a right wing back that really can do the things that Trent or Reece James or anything. Sessegnon's been playing great, and I think he's going to be really good for us. Perisic, he's showing his class. I mean,
you think he starts as well this weekend?
I think he might start, but I kind of don't mind him coming in the 65th minute. Because let's just save him. We don't if we don't need him, let Sessegnon do all the work, and then have him come in the 65th minute and just do what he does. Yeah.
I think this is going to be the game where I think a lot more of those new signings are going to get starts. I think this is the perfect place to do it. Wolves are going to be defensive. They're going to be sitting back. Yeah. And so Southampton at home, it was the first game of the season. I get it. Obviously away to Chelsea, where Spurs haven't had the greatest run-ins. Harder to, integrate more players. But this home game against Wolves, I think, is the perfect one. I think Basuma starts. And I agree. I think Spurs 2-0. pretty comfortable. It might take a little while to get that first goal just with how defensive Wolves are, but then after that, I think you guys are comfortable. So, all right.
And for the transfer market too, we're looking at Milenkovic-Savic from
really.
Where is he from? Napoli.
Yeah, I thought Napoli, or is it Lazio?
Oh no, it's Lazio. You're
Lazio.
right.
Yeah.
One of those light blue teams.
Yeah.
We're looking for him, and then we're looking for Nicolo Zaniolo from Roma, and he's a true number 10.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's another reason why I think we may be going to two at top and
play like a Lukaku, Martinez
exactly
combination,
and have Ibasuma and Milenkovic-Savic behind him. That would be nice. But it's fine. I won't sign anybody.
I mean, you signed 6 players this window. I'd be impressed if you guys bring in more. I think you guys already built some depth as well. All right. So second game here, we got Villa traveling just a little ways here to Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira, obviously with a great performance, setting up his team against Liverpool on Monday. What do you think of this one?
This one's tough because
this one is tough.
Palace very easily could be 2-0. I mean, they had a really tough start with Arsenal, and then Liverpool. Now it's their first real chance to really win a game. But then they're going to Aston Villa. Yeah, they're going up against Aston Villa, and it's I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see if Coutinho plays or if he's, if his injury keeps him out. But also, does it make a difference? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Crystal Palace set up for this game. I am a big fan, obviously, of Patrick Vieira. I don't know, talk about him every stream, it seems like. Villa, I am excited about as well. I mean, the quality is definitely there throughout, top to bottom. For me, though, with Palace being at home, I want to go. I want to give this to Palace. I think it'll be close, but I want to go Palace.
I think Palace is just going to be with Vieira. I mean, was the second year, or is this third year?
Second year.
Second year. They're really starting to understand his system and his philosophies and what he expects from his players. Zaha's a great player.
I thought losing Conor Gallagher, he was so important to them last year. I thought that was going to have, at least in the beginning of the season, more of an effect on them. But it seems like the team's playing really well together. They understand what they're trying to do, and they go out and do it. So I agree. I think Palace win there. Next game is super interesting to me. Everton back at home. Losing the first week to Chelsea, where it seemed like nobody was playing well. Last week, traveling to Aston Villa, where Villa dominated, but Everton arguably could have grabbed it late. And they're going home, and Forest riding the high of their first win, obviously beating West Ham with all of the luck on their side last week. But who you got for this one?
Just poor Frank Lampard. Having such a tough go.
Yeah.
This is hard. Everton, I think, is good enough to win this game, but they have not.
No Calvert-Lewin.
No Calvert-Lewin. Anthony Gordon, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's that.
Chelsea reportedly got a bid rejected for $40 million for him,
which is a lot of money for a player that didn't start for them at all last year. So Richarlison, he couldn't get minutes with Richarlison on the team, and now all of a sudden he's worth $50 million. I don't know about all that. I think Forest are going to take it.
I think Everton, Forest? Wow.
I think Everton
I'm under the impression that this is the bounce back for Everton. I think
you think so?
I think that they are going to have the bit between their teeth. Losing 3 straight or even not winning 3 straight is going to be tough for the fans to handle. Obviously, the way that they barely escaped last year, to keep on performing poorly is not going to sit well. even if it's just the start of the season. So I actually think that Everton will come out of the gates flying. Personally speaking, can I preach you to an Everton victory here?
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Okay.
I don't think Forrest is going to come out and score 7 goals on him or anything crazy. I just think Everton's in a really bad spot. But I agree, that could be a bounce back game for them. They could pull it out. I mean, like you said, they didn't play horrendous last week. They just got beat. Aston Villa was a better team, and I think they could pull it out against Forest.
All right. Oh, Brentford starting the season 4 points, just bad Manchester United last week. Fulham missing a penalty to take all 3 points. To drop 2 points against Wolves. So who do you got on this one? I got Brentford personally. I think they have been starting extremely well. I love the way they play, and they just look super solid to me.
I think it's going to be a 3-1, 2 for Tony, 1 for Da Silva, and one for Mitrovic.
Yeah, Mitrovic.
So that's what I got in this game.
Yeah, I think I agree. Brentford's just looking too good. Even though Fulham's at home, I think Brentford's just looking too good right now. First matchup between the 2 promoted teams. Oh, Brentford's not promoted. What am I doing? Bournemouth. Jeez.
Close enough.
A mess today. Yep. All right. Southampton versus Leicester. Okay, Southampton. I left that game with Spurs thinking, oh my goodness, Southampton are just exactly what you convinced me of in our first episode. Awful and going to get relegated. Start of the game last week, I continued that thought. Awful, going to get relegated. A little bit of formation change, bringing in on Mara there. He gets subbed on, and then within 10 minutes, within like 5 minutes, he gets that beautiful through ball for the tying goal. Leicester City, been in some really great games to start the season. I think Jim Madison obviously playing well. They lost to Arsenal 4-2, but I still think they showed a little bit of character last week. So this game, I'm very intrigued. I think this game kind of defines which direction both of these teams are going to go, because I think both have the potential to go regress and be in a relegation fight, but both might be able to escape it. So what do you have on this one?
Yeah, I think Leicester's going to win this one.
Yeah.
I think they're going to start finally putting it together. I mean, they still have Vardy, they still have Madison, they still have Tielemans, they still have Fofana. They have everybody that's been linked with leaving, but they're all still there. And I think they're finally going to put all the links aside, and they're just going to put together a good game and win. And I think they're much better than Southampton is.
Yeah, quality wise and everything wise, I think you're right. I don't see anything besides a Leicester City victory. Yeah. But I'm intrigued if Southampton can surprise me and put together a performance like they did in the last 20 minutes of last week's game, but for a full 90 minutes, even if that requires a formation change to do so, I will be looking a little bit better on Southampton. But
I wouldn't be mad about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, for now, I don't see anything but a Leicester victory there. Speaking of Arsenal, they take on the actually promoted team, Bournemouth, away to the South Coast. Arsenal, top of the table. Jesus looks great. Martinelli goals in back-to-back games. The defense, still looking pretty solid despite giving up 2 goals against Leicester last week. What do you have for this one?
I think it's another smooth victory for Arsenal.
Smooth? See, I've been battling on this one because there's something in me that just says that this is going to be a draw. I don't know why. I don't have as much faith in Arsenal, and I think as most of the people do. I think they are great. They're playing well together. I think there is quality in the side. I don't think that there is any. I think they're like close to their ceiling already. I don't think that they have much improvement to go. I think if you're playing as well as they are from a chemistry perspective, Their quality is already being shown, but I don't think that they can improve. And I don't know how they're going to handle when something goes wrong, like when they travel away to Bournemouth and Bournemouth is just going to sit back, absorb pressure. And if they can get a early goal, maybe cause pressure or, cause problems for Arsenal. But I think that's me being biased and trying to get Arsenal to lose. So
I don't think you can persuade me on that one.
I'll accept the Arsenal victory. They've just.
I think Arsenal is. I think they're too good.
Yeah, they've been looking great.
They have a pretty solid bench, so I think if something happens, they could bring some. They could bring on Pepe, who's just blistering speed. And speed causes problems, even if he's not the greatest finisher. He has some bad passes. Speed causes problems. Yeah. So nothing breaks open a defense like speed. So that's what I think is they're deep. They're playing well. And honestly, I don't think a team like Bournemouth can really shake them. Now, if they're playing City and they go down 2-0 in the first, 15, 20 minutes, then yes, I agree. There could be some problems. But I think
this is me hoping, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of hope from my side. All right, another bit of hope. Wow, Chelsea, 91% predicted here to travel to Leeds and pick up all 3 points. Leeds, 2 great games to start the season. Last second winner in week 1, scored going up 2 last week before Southampton came back to draw 2-2. Chelsea obviously barely winning over Everton week 1 and drawing this past week against Spurs. So who do you got for this one?
I think this is an easy Chelsea win. They're so good, and I think they finally started to find their form. I mean, you saw it against Tottenham. They played really well in the first half. And I mean, they played really well all game. But I don't think Leeds has the capability like Tottenham did in that second half where we started to break them open. I just don't think Leeds has that. And I don't think Leeds is strong enough defensively to stop all those shots on target. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will come out with a point to prove, dropping 2. They're going to feel like they dropped 2 points last week with the.
They're going to feel like they had 2 points stolen from them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And so I'm excited. Cucurella, I think, will start again.
He should.
And I think he's just adds an extra dimension from both sides. Reece James on the right and him on the left, just with the ability to pass and move forward and join in on the attack, I think will be too much for Leeds. So I agree. I think Chelsea victory as well. Obviously we got United Liverpool coming up. And so that's, going to be the game of the weekend, but this I think is going to be the second, both teams projected to do well this season. Brighton, obviously with the great start to the season, West Ham, traveling to City, hosting City the first week, and then traveling to Forest the second week. Both just, hard games to draw. You don't want to be a Nottingham Forest first game in the Premier League away from home in 23 years, and you don't want to play City ever. So to start off the game, start out 0-2, especially with all the luck that went against them last week, not the biggest of problems in my eyes. Brighton obviously will look absolutely fantastic. West Ham are at home for this one. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's tough because West Ham didn't look bad against Forest. Just everything was on Forest's side. But Brighton's a better team than Forest. They just the way they set up, they're just a better solid unit.
Yep.
But I think West Ham is going to be pretty aggravated that they don't have a point yet from the performances that they've put in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we don't have a draw yet, and I think this game could be a draw.
Yeah, I agree. I think a 2-2 draw, some fireworks, some back and forth, both teams going for it. Definitely could see a draw in this one. I agree. I think West Ham's going to come out, pushing to get on the board points wise,
but it's hard to break Brighton down.
It's hard to break Brighton down. I think they play, Graham Potter, another outstanding manager that doesn't get probably as much credit as he deserves.
I was kind of sad
Definitely
when he
going to be
didn't come
tough.
to Tottenham, but then we got Conte, so
Yeah.
I wasn't mad anymore. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing too. It's so hard for these coaches to get, go from, maybe a mid-table team to a top 6 team. It's almost like you have to leave England and go to a different league and prove that you can take a team
to the next level.
Either Dortmund or Marseille or something like that, and take them to the next level, and then you can come back and get a top 6 position. But yeah, I think a draw here is good. I think it's going to be fireworks, though. I'm super excited for that game.
Yeah, I agree.
This one is an interesting one. Is Manchester City travel up north to take on Newcastle. Newcastle have been fantastic at home, but City have Haaland. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden.
Yeah.
Do I have to keep going?
Too much. It's just too much.
I don't think there's a chance for Newcastle.
I
think Newcastle's going to play great.
Yeah.
But I think City's just going to be City, and they're going to break them
comfortable
down. I think so. I mean, maybe I think maybe a 2-0. I don't think it's going to be,
so always in control.
Yeah. But I think they're going to have some trouble against Newcastle because Newcastle's playing pretty well, and Newcastle can counter.
Yeah. Saint Maxima is a speedster. Yeah. All right, and now the Monday night game, the last game of the weekend. Who would have thought after 3 weeks, or entering the third week, both United and Liverpool do not have a victory when they've played teams like Brighton and Brentford and Palace and Fulham. Is amazing. It's at Old Trafford. United's been booed at the end of 4 consecutive halves. Liverpool has a bench that consists of 5 players. Nunez won't be playing. What are your thoughts? How do you see this going?
I think Liverpool couldn't be happier to see United on the schedule this weekend. I mean, really though, what other team would you want to play right now?
Yeah.
United, their fans are going to boo them. They just came out. The players don't like the way that Ten Hag plays, or sets them up. Mm-hmm. I think United is just in flames right now. So I think Liverpool wins, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice to play a team that you beat. I think a combined 9-0 last year in the 2 games of the Premier League. I am very interested to see the lineup that United puts out. Is Ronaldo starting? Is Luke Shaw going to play? Are they going to put some of these kids in that they subbed on in the later half of the Brentford game? I'm very interested to see the starting lineup. Liverpool, their starting lineup is basically already chosen because everybody else is injured or suspended.
I mean, when we would make the bench, it's a pretty
low
team.
So I agree. I think Liverpool will win this, but I'm very interested to see that starting lineup for Manchester United.
I agree. It's going to be. I think it'll tell a lot. I mean, if he comes out and he starts everybody, that he showed up game 1. Where, you see Ronaldo, you see Rashford, Fernandes, Eriksen, you see the regular team.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, is he just kind of giving up and saying, well, these are my best 11, so this is just who I'm going to play? Or does he say, look, guys, I'm not going to take this anymore. You either play well or you get out.
Or you don't have a spot in the starting 11. There's also a rumor now that Pulisic on loan to United is open. They've had a lot of.
I don't like that.
You think he'll start? Do you think he'll play?
100%. I think he'd play every game. But for United, all they're going to do is get Pulisic in form, and at the end of the season, they're going to send him back to Chelsea. That doesn't seem very smart for him to me. Why would you do that?
Yeah. I mean, Pulisic has a very interesting Chelsea career. Definitely lots of ups and downs. Injuries. He's had over 10 injuries, I think it is. Some minor, but some long-term in just the the couple years he's been with the club. But it would be interesting to see if he does go, just because he's going to be competing with, Sancho and Rashford even on the other side. So I don't know why he would go personally, but it would be
If I was Pulisic, I'd be begging to get transferred.
Really,
because
permanent or on loan?
Permanent, because he has not played for them.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time he got regular minutes was with Lampard, and then he got injured.
He just kept getting injured. Yeah.
So
every time he gets form, he gets injured again. I mean, he played in the Champions League final. He came on.
Right.
Obviously, he even had a good scoring opportunity.
I just
played in big games.
When they're looking to spend 50 million on, Gordon, I just don't think. It's very clear to him if Ziyech's not playing and Pulisic's not playing, and then they're looking to replace them in that position. I mean, a direct replacement. It seems like, well, you clearly don't want me to play here. I'm definitely, he's falling out of favor in that team.
Yeah, that's true, and especially with the World Cup coming up, that's what's interesting about these last 2 weeks, is to see what players feel like they're in a bad position to get game time before the World Cup, and want to make sure that they get that. So it'll be interesting to see. But those are our week 3 picks. Last week we went 6-4, so let's see if we can do better. If you want to join along, it is at ESPN Fantasy Pick'em 2022 English Soccer, and you can make your picks right along with us every single week, and see how we do by the end of the season. I'm excited for these week of games. I think that we're going to start week 3. We're going to start learning a lot about some of these teams and kind of where they are going to maybe land during the season. So it'll be interesting. But thank you, Doug. And make sure you check out the link in the description for all of the artwork that you see behind me, Smiley Sports Artwork on Instagram. And we will see you again next week, 7 p.m. for the recap of week 3 and the preview of week 4. So see you guys later.
See you guys.